Okay, this picture is from a game played on Lichess, and this video is for approximately Class C and lower trying to get to the next level, where you do need to know a little bit about openings, but most of the games are won and lost because of tactics, failed attack and defense, so this game is not an exception to that rule. Black plays a somewhat unusual opening at this level anyway, the Pirc Modern, which also could be played with the move order of G6. And so now, since white doesn't want to move this pawn forward, develops another piece. And this is a more ambitious variation, the Austrian attack. And white hopes to open the F file and is not real concerned about his slight delay in development because he has more space. And these are somewhat routine moves that don't really deserve a lot of. That move's a little bit off in that it does allow white to play E5 immediately, and then white hopes to open the F file. Probably should have done that right away, but castled. And now actually black can play some better moves than occurred in the game. It looks as if he cannot play E5 because he has two defenders if he does, the pawn and the knight, and white has three attackers. However, if these are gone, and this is gone too, then anything that goes here could be attacked by the queen here, giving check. So, for example, C5 is a perfectly good move for black as well, but he could even play E5. So the player as black who plays that system should be familiar with the typical tactics, because this is pretty early in the game. So, for example, let's suppose he does this. White takes, and black takes, and white's best move is to go ahead and move this pawn forward, but he has minimal advantage. If black is worried about this, black can just take this. Remember, if a piece goes to an unguarded square, all kinds of things can happen, and this check is one of those things. And black is at least equal here. So this was black's chance to make the space a little bit less important and central control a little less important. And even if white played the better move, D5 instead of taking here, then, in this position, you can just move forward, but still white's advantage is pretty minimal. But instead of playing E5, he played this move. Now notice that weakens the F7 square. So even if you're not an expert on a particular opening, you can look at that and go, okay, that move is unusual, so what might I do to take advantage of it? Well, this is a safe, aggressive move anyway, and then it opens the F file, which leaves the rook with an X-ray attack on this square, which has recently been weakened by an unusual move. Also, by putting the rook here, it implies that black would like to open his E file. So without ado, white moves forward. And black could just move his knight here. He's not under an obligation to auto-capture, as so many people do. And now white has a significant advantage already. And the best he could do would be to put his knight here. But he goes over to the side, like in King's Indian style. Now this bishop can see X-ray attack this square where the king would be in check. Notice these are white squares, white squares. So this move just kind of double attacks this with a discovered attack and attacks this square. It's the kind of move that we might find in a game of speed chess, even if we didn't know it was the best move. So there it goes, knight g5. And black, being in an unfamiliar position, might feel a little bit panicked by this new threat. Probably the best he can do. I would have said to move the rook back here to guard it, only I see the engine is telling me knight to b6, which still doesn't look very good. So black goes here, and now that's a fatal mistake. And people, of course, tend to make the most fatal mistakes in the positions that they're unfamiliar with. Also, where there are a lot of minor pieces coming out. Now, if your opponent has a lot more space than you have to be very careful of things like this. And, of course, this move would just finish the game. And the queen is gone. And in just 11 moves, black is completely lost. Now, black is a strong Class B player here and lost in only 11 moves. So I suspect that black played an opening that they're not really up on, and at the same time speculated on some unusual moves. So when you play an opening that you're not so familiar with, the best you can do, especially against a higher rated player, is to play the normal openings. You know, don't innovate and make an unusual move if you're not well researched on it. So this is a game where a Class B player went down in flames. So if you're trying to get to Class B and higher, you can look for things like this. And in general, you should be practicing tactics and simplified endgames, not playing a zillion games of speed chess all the time, unless speed chess is your only aspiration. So you can email me, chessfl@gmail.com, or chris@chrischess.com. On Lichess, I have a team room called Chris Chess, and hopefully I will maybe see you there at some point. Thanks for watching.